For 230 years, the galaxy had grown used to Earth's silence. The blue planet that once sent simple math problems into space had gone completely quiet. No radio signals. No messages. Nothing at all. Ambassador HFY floated in his crystal chamber aboard the Federation flagship, looking at the star charts. The small yellow star called Sol glowed dimly on the display. Around it, the third planet remained as mysterious as ever. "Still nothing from humans?" asked Commander Veldar, his scales shifting color with curiosity. "Nothing," HFY replied, his crystalline body humming softly. "It has been 230 years since their last transmission. Most species either join us within 50 years or destroy themselves. The humans seem to have chosen the second option. The Galactic Federation had tried everything. They sent peaceful messages. They sent mathematical formulas. They even sent pictures of their home worlds. But Earth never replied. The planet just sat there in space, blue and white and silent. Dr. Zalmint, the Federation's top scientist, had spent decades studying the human problem. His tentacles moved across his datapad as he spoke to the bridge crew. Perhaps they were too primitive to understand our messages. Or maybe they were too afraid. Fear makes species do strange things. Or they all died in some war, Veldar suggested. It happens more often than we like to think. We have records of 17 species that went silent after first contact. Most destroyed themselves within 100 years. The truth was, nobody really knew what happened to humanity. Their first messages had been crude but promising. Simple radio waves carrying basic mathematical sequences. The Federation had been excited to meet a new species. But then, suddenly, the messages stopped. Some Federation members thought the humans had blown themselves up with nuclear weapons. Others believed they had fallen back into a dark age, losing their technology completely. A few optimists hoped the humans were still there, just choosing not to talk. "Maybe they're still listening," suggested Lieutenant Kixtal, a young officer from the insect world of Buzzhar. "Maybe they can hear us, but choose not to answer." Commander Veldar laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. If they were listening, why would they stay quiet for so long? What would be the point? The Federation had rules about silent worlds. After 50 years of no contact, they marked the planet as inactive. After 100 years, it became presumed dead. Earth had been marked as presumed dead for over a century. But still, some Federation members watched the Sol system. Automatic monitoring stations recorded everything that happened near Earth. The planet showed signs of life. Cities still glowed at night. Satellites moved in orbit, but no signals came out. "It is very strange," Dr. Zalmin admitted. "The humans clearly have technology. We can see their lights and their satellites. But they send us nothing, not even by accident." This puzzled many species in the Federation. Most civilizations could not help but broadcast signals into space. Radio waves, television, communication, satellites. These things leaked out naturally as a species developed technology. But Earth's signals had stopped completely. It was as if someone had built a wall around the entire planet. Ambassador HFY had made studying Earth his life's work. He had read every report about humanity. The early messages showed they were curious and eager to learn. They had sent prime numbers, mathematical constants, and even simple pictures. But then, nothing. Perhaps, HFY thought aloud, they decided we were dangerous. This idea made the bridge crew uncomfortable. The Federation prided itself on being peaceful. They helped younger species develop safely. They shared knowledge and resources. Why would anyone think they were dangerous? "We have never threatened them," Veldar protested. "Our first messages were completely friendly. We offered to share science and culture. We promised peace." "But maybe," Lieutenant Kixtal said quietly, "they saw something in our messages that scared them. Something we did not mean to show them." Dr. Zalmint's tentacles curled thoughtfully. "It is possible, if they studied our signals carefully, they would learn about our history. And our history is not always peaceful. We have had wars. We have made mistakes. The galaxy was not a simple place. In the past 230 years, several civilizations had risen and fallen. There had been 3 major wars. Pirates raided trade routes. Some species enslaved others. The Federation tried to keep peace, but they could not control everything. If the humans were smart, Kevvar realized, they might have decided to watch and wait, to learn about us before making contact. For 230 years? Veldar sounded doubtful. That would take incredible patience. Or incredible fear, Dr. Zalman added. As the Federation ship continued its patrol through space, Earth remained a mystery. The third planet from Sol kept its secrets. Cities glowed. Satellites moved. Life continued. But the humans stayed quiet. Nobody in the Federation could imagine what the humans were really doing during those 230 years of silence. They assumed Earth was either dead or afraid or primitive. They never considered that humanity might have been preparing for something much larger than anyone could imagine. The galaxy continued its normal business. Ships traded between worlds. Scientists shared discoveries. Politicians made speeches. And Earth watched it all, learning everything, saying nothing. Deep beneath the mountains of Korea, Director Miho Kim walked through corridors that officially did not exist. The Global Monitoring Initiative had been Earth's biggest secret for over 2 centuries. While the galaxy thought humanity was dead or primitive, thousands of people worked day and night in hidden facilities around the world. "Sir, we have another transmission from the crystalline hegemony," called out technician Salmon Park from her station. Her screen showed waves of alien data, flowing like digital waterfalls. "They are discussing trade agreements with the Insect Confederation." Miho nodded and moved to the central command area. The room was enormous, filled with hundreds of workstations. Each person monitored different parts of the galaxy. They listened to every signal, decoded every message, and recorded every piece of information that traveled through space. Dr. Jaiwin, Lee looked up from her analysis desk. Her job was to study alien technology and figure out how it worked. "Director Kim, I have finished studying the hegemony's new shield technology. It uses quantum field manipulation, but it has a weakness. A specific frequency can disrupt the entire system." "Good work," Miho replied. "Add it to the database." For 230 years, humanity had been the galaxy's greatest students. They never asked questions, never revealed themselves, but they learned everything. Every alien language had been decoded. Every piece of technology had been studied and improved upon. Every political movement had been analyzed and understood. Commander Hyun Cho managed the communication arrays that captured alien signals from across the galaxy. "Sir, we are receiving reports about another civilization collapse in the outer spiral. The Veltari Empire has fallen. That makes 17 dead civilizations since we went silent." This news did not surprise anyone in the facility. They had watched civilizations rise and fall like waves on a beach. The pattern was always the same. A species would develop space travel, expand rapidly across multiple worlds, use up their resources, then fight wars over what remained. Most civilizations destroyed themselves within 500 years of reaching space. The Veltari made the same mistakes as the others, observed Dr. Sunho Kong, the facility's expert on alien sociology. They expanded too fast, fought too much, and never learned to work together properly. Miho walked over to the main display screen. It showed a map of the entire galaxy with thousands of color dots representing different civilizations. Many dots had changed from bright colors to gray over the years. Gray meant dead. "This is why we stay hidden," Miho said to his staff. "Look at this galaxy. War, destruction, waste. Every species thinks they know better than the ones that came before them, but they all make the same mistakes." Technician Yunahan raised her hand. "Director, what about the Federation? They seem more peaceful than most." "The Federation tries to keep peace," Dr. Lee answered. "But they are reactive, not proactive. They wait for problems to happen, then try to fix them. They never address the root causes." The humans had learned that the galaxy's biggest problem was not any single species or technology. The problem was the way civilizations thought about growth and resources. Everyone wanted to expand and consume. Nobody planned for the long term. "We have been monitoring the Devourer situation," reported Intelligence Officer Dohayan Lim. Their expansion rate has increased by 30% in the last decade. At this pace, they will reach Federation core worlds within 20 years. The Devourers were the galaxy's newest threat. They consumed entire planets for raw materials and turned them into more ships and weapons. Traditional military forces could not stop them because the Devourers adapted to any attack and grew stronger. The Federation is panicking, observed Salmon Park. Their military leaders are talking about evacuation plans. They think the Devourers cannot be stopped. Miho smiled slightly. They are thinking in old ways. They try to fight the Devourers with conventional weapons and tactics, but some problems require completely new approaches. In a secure section of the facility, engineer Sungo Kim worked on humanity's most advanced projects. While aliens built bigger ships and stronger weapons, humans had taken a different path. They studied the fundamental laws of physics and found ways to bend them. The reality anchor tests are going well, Sungo reported during the daily briefing. We can now stabilize local space-time in areas up to 50,000 cubic kilometers. The effects are exactly as predicted. Dr. Narration, the facility's theoretical physicist, explained the technology to the gathered scientists. Instead of fighting the Devourers with force, we change the rules of physics around them. We make their weapons impossible to use, and their ships impossible to move. It sounds like magic, commented Commander Cho. Any sufficiently advanced technology appears to be magic, Dr. Shin replied with a smile. But it is just science that other species have not discovered yet. The humans had spent 230 years not just learning alien technology, but advancing far beyond it. While the galaxy fought with energy weapons and particle beams, humanity had learned to manipulate reality itself. Sir, Salmon Park called out urgently, the Devourer fleet has just destroyed the Zephyrian homeworld. The Federation is requesting emergency sessions. They are talking about mass evacuation of the core systems. Miho looked around the command center at his dedicated staff. For more than 2 centuries, they had watched and learned and prepared. Now it seemed their time of silence was coming to an end. Begin preparation for Project Voice, he ordered quietly. It is time for humanity to rejoin the galactic conversation. The Devourer fleet moved through space like a plague of metal locusts. They had already consumed 12 worlds in the Outer Rim, turning entire planets into raw materials for their ever-growing armada. Each conquered world made them stronger, faster, and hungrier. Ambassador Kevvar watched the tactical displays from the Federation flagship with growing despair. The crystalline being's body dimmed with worry as red markers spread across the galaxy map like drops of blood. How many ships do they have now? Asked Commander Veldar, his scaled hands gripping the command rail. Over 50,000 combat vessels, reported Dr. Zalmint, his tentacles trembling as he read the data. And they are building more every hour using materials from the destroyed worlds. The Federation had tried everything. Their most powerful battleships barely scratched the Devourer hulls. Energy weapons were absorbed and redirected. Missile attacks were caught and recycled into new Devourer ships. Even their newest quantum torpedoes had no effect. They adapt to every weapon we use, Commander Veldar said bitterly. It is like fighting our own shadow. Every attack makes them learn how to defend against it. The crystalline hegemony's core worlds were preparing for evacuation. Ancient civilizations that had existed for thousands of years were packing their most precious treasures and fleeing deeper into the galaxy. But everyone knew the Devourers would follow eventually. Lieutenant Kixtal buzzed nervously at her station. Sir, we are receiving evacuation requests from 47 different systems. They all want Federation protection, but we cannot protect ourselves. On the bridge, the mood was darker than anyone could remember. The Federation had faced threats before, but nothing like this. The Devourers did not negotiate. They did not want territory or resources they could trade for. They simply consumed everything in their path and moved on to the next target. Maybe we should try talking to them again, suggested Dr. Zalmint desperately. Perhaps we can find some way to communicate, to understand what they want. We tried that, Kethvar replied sadly. They destroyed our diplomatic ship without even slowing down. I do not think they see us as living beings. To them, we are just another resource to be harvested. Across the galaxy, Panic was spreading. Species that had been enemies for centuries suddenly worked together against a common threat. Ancient grudges were forgotten as everyone focused on survival. But it did not matter. The Devourers were too strong, too adaptable, too numerous. Then, something impossible happened. Every communication device in the galaxy activated at the same time, not through normal subspace channels that could be blocked or intercepted. Every radio, every quantum transmitter, every telepathic relay simultaneously received the same signal. It was as if someone had found a way to speak directly to every electronic device in the universe. On the Federation flagship, Lieutenant Kixtal stared at her instruments in shock. "Sir, this is impossible. The signal is not coming from any known location. It is just everywhere at once." Commander Veldar checked his own displays. Every screen showed the same thing. A simple audio transmission in perfect galactic standard, the common language used by all Federation members. "This cannot be happening," Dr. Zalmint whispered. "No technology can broadcast to the entire galaxy simultaneously. The physics do not work." But it was happening, and then they heard the voice. It was calm, confident, and spoke with the accent of a species that had been silent for 230 years. The voice that came from the supposedly dead world called Earth. "Citizens of the galaxy," the voice said clearly, "this is humanity. We have been watching. We have been listening. We have been learning." On the bridge of the Federation flagship, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The humans were supposed to be extinct or primitive or hiding in fear. They were not supposed to have technology that could reach every device in the galaxy at once. For over 2 centuries, we have observed your civilization's rise and fall. We have studied your technologies, your cultures, your mistakes. We chose silence not from fear, but from wisdom. Ambassador Kethvar's crystalline body began to glow brighter as he processed what he was hearing. The humans had been watching them. All this time, Earth had not been dead or primitive. They had been students, learning everything about the galaxy while revealing nothing about themselves. We have watched the Devourer threat develop for the past 50 years. We have analyzed their technology, their tactics, their weaknesses. The galaxy's current approach will fail because you're fighting them with outdated methods. Commander Veldar looked around the bridge at his shocked crew. How can they know about our military strategies? Those are classified at the highest levels. The human voice continued with disturbing calm. The Devourer fleet currently consists of 47,832 combat vessels, 156,000 support ships, and 12 mobile factory platforms. Their adaptive shielding operates on 17 different frequency ranges. Their self-replication systems require specific quantum signatures to function. Dr. Zalmint's tentacles curled in amazement. Those numbers, they're exactly correct. But how can they know such precise details? The Devourer threat will be neutralized in exactly 72 hours, the voice announced. We ask that all Federation fleets maintain their current positions and do not interfere with our operations. What you are about to witness will require significant changes in your understanding of physics. Then the transmission ended. Every device in the galaxy returned to normal operation, but nothing would ever be normal again. The humans had spoken for the first time in 230 years, and their words promised to change everything. Exactly 72 hours after the impossible broadcast, the galaxy watched and waited. Federation fleets hung motionless in space, following humanity's strange request not to interfere. Every sensor array focused on the Devourer Armada as it continued its relentless advance toward the crystalline hegemony's core worlds. Ambassador Kethvar stood on his flagship's observation deck, his crystalline body pulsing with nervous energy. "Still no sign of human ships," he reported to the bridge crew. "Long-range sensors detect nothing approaching the Devourer fleet." "Maybe they were lying," suggested Commander Veldar, though his voice lacked conviction. "Maybe the humans cannot really stop the Devourers, and this was just some kind of trick." Dr. Zalmint operated the most sensitive detection equipment in the Federation fleet. His tentacles moved frantically across his instruments. "I am detecting some unusual quantum fluctuations near the Devourer position, but no ships. Whatever the humans are planning, it does not involve traditional spacecraft." Lieutenant Kixtal monitored communication channels from her station. "Sir, we are receiving confused reports from observation posts throughout the sector. They say space itself looks different near the Devourers, but they cannot explain what they mean. The Devourer fleet maintained its standard formation, 50,000 warships arranged in perfect geometric patterns, advancing like a metallic storm cloud. Their hulls absorb all light that touched them, making them appear as dark holes cut out of the star field. Nothing the galaxy had ever created could penetrate their adaptive defenses." Then, without any warning or visible cause, the Devourer fleet stopped moving. "What just happened?" Commander Veldar demanded, staring at the tactical display. "Why did they stop?" "I do not know," Dr. Zelmint replied, his voice filled with confusion. "They still have power. Their engines are still functioning, but they are not moving forward. On every Federation ship, crews press against viewports and stare at their sensors in amazement. The unstoppable Devourer armada hung motionless in space, like insects trapped in invisible amber. "This is impossible," Lieutenant Kixtal whispered. "Nothing can just stop a fleet that size without attacking it." But something even stranger began to happen. The Devourers feared matter conversion beams, weapons that could dissolve entire moons, started firing in reverse. Instead of breaking down matter, they were rebuilding it. The empty space around the fleet began filling with raw materials and debris that should not exist. Commander Veldar checked his instruments again and again. The readings make no sense. Their weapons are operating backward. They are creating matter instead of destroying it. Dr. Zalmint's tentacles trembled as he studied the impossible data. The energy signatures are all wrong. It is as if the laws of physics have changed in that area of space. Then they saw it. A single human vessel materialized near the paralyzed Devourer fleet. It was not large compared to the alien warships, but there was something fundamentally wrong with how it looked. The ship seemed to exist in too many dimensions at once, as if reality could not quite decide where its edges should be. "New contact," Lieutenant Kixtal announced unnecessarily. Every sensor in the fleet had detected the arrival. "Human vessel. Configuration unknown. It appears to be shifting in and out of normal space-time." The human ship opened a communication channel. The voice that came through was calm and professional, speaking in accented galactic standard. "This is Captain Unahan of the Earth Federation ship paradigm. We are beginning Devourer neutralization procedures. All Federation vessels should maintain safe distance and prepare to receive detailed technical briefings." On the human ship's bridge, Captain Unahan studied the frozen Devourer fleet with satisfaction. Her science officer, Commander Dohayan Lim, monitored the reality anchor systems that were making the impossible possible. "Reality field stable, Captain," Dohayan reported. "The Devourers are locked in a localized space-time bubble where their adaptive technology cannot function properly." Engineering officer Sungo Kim watched his instruments with quiet pride. For 230 years, humanity had developed technology that other species would consider magic. All Devourer systems are responding exactly as predicted. Their self-replication protocols are reversing, their adaptive shields have crystallized, and their matter conversion beams are now rebuilding destroyed worlds. The humans had not defeated the Devourers with bigger weapons or stronger shields. Instead, they had changed the fundamental rules of physics in the area around the enemy fleet. In their localized pocket of altered reality, the Devourers' technology simply could not work the way it was designed to. "How long will the field hold?" Captain Han asked. "Indefinitely," Sungo replied. "The reality anchors are self-sustaining. The Devourers are now permanently locked in a state where they cannot harm anyone." Across the galaxy, Federation crews watched in stunned silence as the greatest threat they had ever faced became completely helpless. The dark warships that had consumed 12 worlds now floated motionless, their terrible weapons neutralized by science that defied understanding. "This is Captain Han broadcasting to all Federation vessels," Yuna announced calmly. "The Devourer threat has been neutralized. Their fleet is now contained within a stable reality field. We are transmitting technical data about our methods to your science teams." Ambassador Kethvar's crystalline body flickered with amazement and fear. The humans had just demonstrated technology that made them the most powerful force in the galaxy, and they had done it without firing a single traditional weapon. Prepare diplomatic channels, he ordered quietly. It appears we need to have a very different conversation with Earth than anyone expected. The age of human silence was officially over. 3 months after the Devourer fleet was neutralized, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. The greatest threat in recorded history had been stopped by a species everyone thought was dead. Now representatives from every major civilization gathered on the Federation capital world for humanity's first official diplomatic contact in 230 years. Ambassador Narration walked calmly through the massive assembly hall, followed by Director Miho Kim and Dr. Jaiwan Lee. The 3 humans moved past thousands of alien delegates, each representing species that had assumed Earth was primitive or extinct. Now these same beings stared at the humans with mixtures of awe, fear, and curiosity. "Look how they watch us," Dr. Lee whispered to her colleagues. "Like we are dangerous animals that might attack at any moment. Can you blame them?" Director Kim replied quietly, "We just demonstrated technology they thought was impossible. Of course they are nervous." The assembly hall fell silent as Ambassador Shin approached the central speaking platform. Representatives from the Crystalline Hegemony, the Insect Confederation, the Scale Republic, and hundreds of other civilizations waited to hear what humanity had to say. Ambassador Ketvar, as the senior Federation diplomat, introduced the human delegation. His crystalline body pulsed with barely controlled anxiety. "Honored delegates, we welcome the human representatives to their first official gathering in over 2 centuries. We are eager to understand Earth's intentions." Ambassador Shin stepped forward and activated the translation matrix, so her words would be understood by every species present. Her voice was clear and confident as she addressed the assembly. "Thank you, Ambassador Ketvar. For 230 years, humanity has observed this galaxy in silence. We have watched civilizations rise and fall. We have studied your technologies, your cultures, your achievements, and your failures." A nervous murmur rippled through the assembly. Many delegates shifted uncomfortably at the idea that humans had been watching them for so long without revealing themselves. "We chose silence not because we were afraid, but because we wanted to understand the patterns that govern galactic civilization. What we learned was troubling." Dr. Juno Beck, Earth's chief scientist, joined Ambassador Shin on the platform. He activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy's history over the past 230 years. Color that's represented different civilizations, many changing from bright colors to gray as species destroyed themselves or disappeared. "In the time since we went silent," Dr. Beck explained, "we have observed a complete collapse of 17 major civilizations. The pattern is always the same: rapid expansion, resource depletion, conflict, and destruction." Commander Veldar stood up from the Scale Republic delegation. "Are you suggesting that our civilizations are somehow flawed? We have achieved great things. We have spread across the galaxy. We have built wonders." "Yes, you have achieved much," Ambassador Shin agreed. "But every achievement has come at enormous cost. You build bigger ships while your home worlds become polluted. You develop more powerful weapons while your people go hungry. You expand to new systems while leaving destroyed planets behind." The assembly erupted in angry voices. Delegates protested that humans had no right to judge them after hiding for centuries. Others demanded to know why Earth felt qualified to criticize galactic civilization. Dr. Lee stepped forward and raised her hand for silence. "We are not here to judge you. We are here to help. The Devourer crisis showed us that the galaxy needs a different approach to growth and cooperation. Help us." Ambassador Ketvar's crystalline body flickered with confusion. "You have technology that makes you the most powerful species in the galaxy. Why would you want to help anyone?" Director Kim joined his colleagues on the platform. "Because power without wisdom leads to the same cycle of destruction we have observed for centuries. Humanity spent 230 years learning not just how to build advanced technology, but how to use it responsibly." Ambassador Shin activated another holographic display, showing Earth during its silent period. The planet looked peaceful and prosperous, with cities that seemed to blend perfectly with natural environments. "While we developed reality manipulation technology, We also solved the problems that destroy most civilizations. We learned to grow without depleting resources. We learned to expand without leaving waste behind. We learned to cooperate instead of compete. Lieutenant Kixtal buzzed anxiously from the insect delegation. But how can we trust you? You hid from us for 230 years. You could have helped with countless crises, but you chose to watch while civilizations died. We could not help before because we were not ready. Ambassador Shin replied, honestly, if we had revealed ourselves earlier, we would have made the same mistakes as everyone else. We would have become just another powerful species fighting for resources and territory. Dr. Beck brought up detailed plans showing new technologies and social systems. Now we can offer something different. Not domination, but partnership. Not conquest, but cooperation. We can share technology that eliminates scarcity, methods that prevent conflict, and systems that allow sustainable growth. The assembly hall fell quiet as delegates considered the human proposal. Many remained suspicious, but others began to see possibilities they had never imagined. What do you want in return? Asked Ambassador Kethvar carefully. Nothing. Ambassador Shin replied simply. We want to build a galaxy where civilizations can grow and thrive without destroying themselves or others. We stayed quiet for 230 years to learn how to make this possible. Now we are ready to work together. The old galactic order was ending. A new age of cooperation was about to begin, guided by the species that had learned wisdom through silence.